Hey folks, David Frost, mystrategicforecast.com. You're here for a trade alert on the EWZ, which is the Brazil ETF. And the reason I wanted to do this to the public is because I want to explain how I'm approaching trades, and so you get the idea of what some of the factors are that I use to determine whether a trade is worth taking, whether it's short or even intermediate to longer term. And this is one of those cases, and I want to explain this for a second. Right here, you have a daily chart of the Brazilian ETF, EWZ. So what you have is you have effectively a double top from here to here is a double top. And you have the World Cup going on, and that's part of the reason behind the philosophy of this particular trade. So now you have a slight down move, and you've begun a couple of days of consolidation, some sideways consolidation. But I want to take a look at a longer term picture a second. And what you'll see here is you'll see some lower highs. You have highs in here. You have a lower high, big down move. You have a retrace or an up move, okay? Another lower high, down move, up move, a lower high. Okay, so this, all in all, lower highs make for a weaker market. Now, on a weekly basis, you're above the 20 and the 50-period moving average, and I believe a lot of that has to do with the World Cup. I think the hype going into Brazil over here had to do with the World Cup. And when I take even a longer term look, okay, this is the monthly chart, all right, now all of a sudden you're below the moving averages. Okay, you're below the 20 and the 50 period moving average on a monthly basis. And what do you have? You have a peak here, you have a high, this is back in 2008. You have a lower high here, this is 2011. Another major pivot here in 2012, another lower high, another lower high, another lower high, and here you made essentially a double top into this high, or close enough, from October of 2013. So I believe that following the World Cup, I believe there's going to be a big letdown in Brazil, which coincides with the bigger picture of a turn in the equity markets coming in several weeks. So I think those things coupled together with my bigger cycle turn date, with the letdown in Brazil, the lower highs on a monthly and weekly basis, I think the whole picture portends for lower prices in EWZ, or the country, or Brazil. So what do I mean by lower prices? Well, if we started down here, okay, your first stop would be about 38. So that's a $10 move off of where are we now? We closed at 48. So 48 to 38. Now, this doesn't happen overnight. This takes weeks or a month or two to play out. But if we don't hold this low here and we continue down, if the turn that I expect in several weeks happens to a larger magnitude and we have heavy volume across all markets, emerging markets, the U.S. market, across all markets, including China and Europe, then you may challenge this low here, okay? Let's call it 27, 28, 29, 30 in this neighborhood here. We'll call it 30 for argument's sake, okay? If the market breaks, if EWZ breaks this low here, then you're going to go test 30, and that's a big drop from where we are at 48 right now. So I thought that was worth putting out. It's kind of a quick and dirty analysis for what to me is the technicals coupled with common sense, coupled with the bigger picture. To me, looks like a trade worth taking a look at on the short side of EWZ. And for those that want to trade it, I think it's a good move. I think your risk reward is good here. I think what you can do, if you want to look at the risk reward, a tight stop would be a close on a monthly basis above 51.75. So if you closed a month above 51.75, that would be a good risk reward, because your downside, if you're are going to stop out on the upside of 51.75, you're only looking at a little over 3. Let's call it 3.5 points on the your exposure there. On a weekly basis, you could even go with a wider stop if you got above 55. Now that's too much. I wouldn't do that. I would stay with this pivot here, which is 51.75. It's the same pivot from the monthly basis. So forget the monthly close. Say a weekly close above 51.75, and I would stop out and take a look at what the market's telling you. But for now, I think the risk reward is in your favor, so you can start to scale in on the downside of EWZ. There's your common sense technical analysis on the short side of Brazil following the World Cup, so you can begin to scale up as the World Cup scales down over the next week or 2 or 3 or whenever that occurs. And there you go, David Frost, mystrategicforecast.com.